welcome everybody. Happy Monday. Emily Morgan here from Delegate Solutions with two amazing women. Happy Mother's Day, by the way, one day late. We've got Jill Young, who is the head coach at EOS Worldwide, and Shannon Waller, who is one of the key team members over at Strategic Coach and the creator of the Strategic Coach Team Program. So welcome both. Shannon's up in Canada and Jill is in Dallas, Texas.
Yay! Yeehaw!
Yeehaw. She's wide open. So let me tell you a little bit about Jill first. Jill is actually the EOS implementer for Strategic Coach, which is amazing. She's in the program. She's in my 10X class, and she works with over 80 companies and coaches through her EOS practice. And like I mentioned earlier, she's also the head coach at EOS Worldwide. What does that mean, Jill? What is that job?
What does that mean? It means I do not have enough free days on my calendar. That's what that means. So the head coach at EOS Worldwide, the way we're organized is that I have a team of 10 coaches that work with me. And then the EOS implementers get access to those coaches to help them build their practice, but also be just really great EOS implementers. So I started that job in December. It's very exciting. I like to use some of Shannon's words, and Shannon, of course, gives credit to Dan for those words. It's fascinating and motivating because EOS Worldwide itself is an entrepreneurial company, and we're growing and changing. And it's just really exciting to be a part of that. And then on the other side of my life, I also have my practice. And it was interesting when you said 80 companies, it made it sound like it's 80 companies at the same time. And I did my stomach dropped just a little bit. But just over the lifetime of being an implementer, I've worked with that many companies, but I usually work with about 20 companies at a time. They come right here to Dallas, Texas. This is my virtual session room you're in today, but out there, out that door is my physical session room too. We got to do both these days, don't we?
Amazing. So are you accepting clients? The world is wondering. Are you full?
I start new clients as often as I can.
Wow, very cool.
There we go. Yep. But we have 400 implementers across the world, and all of them are fabulous because we're getting them all nice and trained up, and lots of experienced implementers out there. So plenty of expertise to go around.
Amazing. And like I mentioned, you're working with Shannon over at Coach, helping them implement EOS. But Shannon, what did I miss in your bio that you think is important to share?
Oh my goodness. I'm on the leadership team, and so Jill is our implementer, and it's been phenomenal for Strategic Coach. So we, Gina Wickman, who's author of Traction and founder of EOS, has been in the program for longer than EOS was around, which is kind of cool. So really created EOS while doing the program. And so that's why they fit so beautifully together. There is nothing they're very complementary. They are not the same, as we will talk about, but they're so complementary. So someone's looking for a really superb implementation system. EOS just dovetails so beautifully with Coach, which is really, really cool. And it's interesting to have a program created, created from the program, but while I was in the program, but then to actually adopt it ourselves, which is it's been beautiful. And Jill is our phenomenal, if you're lucky enough to get Jill, because it's like, we're like herding cats. We think we're unique. We think we're complicated. We probably are a little bit, but it's been phenomenal. And I would have to say it's been incredibly useful to have the EOS leadership structure, especially during the pandemic. We were able to make decisions internally. Dan's been a phenomenal rock star front stage, providing a ton of value and things, but helping to organize ourselves backstage and providing the leadership, providing the decision-making, not having 22 people try and make decisions, which is maybe how we would have done it before, has been phenomenal. So it's really helped us execute elegantly, I would say, on some changes. So thank you, Jill, for your awesome leadership.
Well, you're welcome. Shannon, as you were telling the story of how EOS was born while Gino was attending Strategic Coach, I'm a simplifier in Strategic Coach terms. And so a sentence I like to say is, we share the same DNA, right? It's like children share the same DNA. They look different. They have different unique abilities, but they're so complementary because they were just born from the same mindsets of abundance and growth and positivity. So I like that phrase. They share, we share some DNA.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Whenever I'm asked this question, because I'm asked it a lot because I'm in both Strategic Coach and EOS, how, from your perspective, I'll start with you, Jill, how do you see them as complementary but also different? How would you describe each program in that way?
Well, I'll start with complementary. One thing, and I have 11 clients right now who are running on EOS, but also the visionary is in Strategic Coach. So I not only can see it from my own point of view, because I'm also in Strategic Coach. I sometimes say I'm a lifetime member unless they kick me out. So thank you, Shannon. This is being recorded, so I'm going to say, remember that one time? Yeah, Shannon said we won't kick you out that time. But I see the similarities both from my own point of view, but also from my client's point of view. And really, I'm not going to use the word similarities. I'm going to use how they're complementary. Yes, complementary. So I see it both ways. One way that they're complementary is they both work on a 90-day world. So this is just how humans work, right? Humans just love we know we can stay focused for about 90 days at a time. So they both work on a 90-day world. They both work on pulling on the principle in your brain of pulling yourself out of working in your business to work on your business. Mm-hmm. They both have they both complement each other because of our single focus on growth in a really good, healthy way. It's not this crazy growth at all costs. It's a very holistic, EOS, we say we're a holistic operating system. And I've heard, Shannon, this well-rounded, balanced, free, focused buffer days. We want the whole entrepreneur to thrive. So anyway, those are some ways that they are very, very complementary.
And how about you, Shannon?
Totally agree. It's the mindsets are very similar in terms of positive and growth and healthy growth. Coach is all about having a self-managing company. It's all about freedom of time, money, relationships, and purpose. But the main program is all structured towards the head of the company, which in EOS terms is the visionary. And the challenge for them is how do they go back to their team and go, now what? How does the team function that way? And so Coach is amazing because it's phenomenal for helping the business owner, the visionary, the entrepreneur, get really, really clear on his or her future. And that's the thing that I know the EOS implementers are so happy when their people are in Coach, because they're like, oh, good, that's work I don't have to do, or the person is not fuzzy, and they're passing on clear messages. So I know, and we have a lot of EOS implementers in Strategic Coach, which is also dreamy. I get to coach a bunch of them. Appreciate you guys. But then often, how do you get it back to the team and conveying that down to the leadership team? And Strategic Coach has a team leader program and a program, but that's how to get coach concepts into the bloodstream of the company. It's not the operating system that EOS provides. So they're different. Again, those things are different, but complementary. The other way that I would say that we're complementary is I was going to say Jill, but EOS has, this system of quarterly goals called ROCKS, and how you cascade that down to the company and how you IDS. I'll let you define that, Jill. Anyway, identify, discuss, and solve. I can't not say that.
I was waiting for you.
I know. I was like, I can't pass that ball. But then Strategic Coach has, frankly, in my opinion, the most phenomenal tools to help you do that. It's like to get clear on what you want with, what you would say delegate and elevate is an impact filter. Or if you want to do figuring out something, use a strategy circle. Or if you want to, reflect back on the experience, learn something, use an experience transformer. So kind of between the vision and the tools, again, it just is these puzzle pieces, this Jenga puzzle that fits together. So it just works. And kind of, I think you want both. I would anyway. So, we want EOS and coach people want EOS, and then EOS, I think, also really benefits from the coach wisdom too.
Absolutely.
So that's how when I draw occasionally I tend to draw a picture, not which I will share here because it looks like gobbledygook, but it's like EOS or coach, and then EOS, and then coach, and then EOS, and then coach. So that's kind of how it works together in my mind.
Yeah, in my experience, EOS, a lot of our focus is elevating the visionary out of the business as much as possible. And coach to me is really the tools and concepts that help you as a thinker be able to do that and make that happen across your team.
Emily, you used the word thinker, and I have a phrase that I will introduce coach to visionaries who are not yet running or attending coach, not a member of coach. And I say coach helps you think about your thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So when I have visionaries come into the room with their leadership teams, and we're saying, okay, this is where we said we're going, and this is our 1-year plan and our 3-year picture. There are some visionaries who come into the room and they're really like, I'm not sure. I think we want to go this way, and you can just sense their hesitation. But that doesn't happen with visionaries who are members of Strategic Coach. They come into the session, they're confident, they've already thought about their thinking,
Mm-hmm.
and they've thought this through using these coach tools, so that when we get in the room to execute for 90 days and make a plan for 90 days, it's just so clear. And the opposite of that is what we call at EOS the entrepreneurial whiplash, where it's one thing this quarter and then the other thing this quarter, and it's back and forth and back and forth. Yeah. And it's kind of sad, but some entrepreneurs are actually addicted to that. Mm-hmm. And they think that's what their job is, to always find a new idea. But what I love about coach is the concepts just keep coming back to us of focus and collaboration and who, not how. And I really apologize if someone's listening to this and they aren't familiar with EOS or coach a little bit. We've probably already thrown out some lingo at you, but you can find out all about it later. The lingo.
And I see you have who, not how behind you on your bookshelf.
Yes, see, there you go. There it is. It's right there with the book traction. We work together.
So it's funny because from a delegation standpoint, what I see a lot where entrepreneurs in EOS, it's called letting go of the vine, right? Where they get stuck is when they're like, well, if I let go of this thing, what am I going to do? And I know in coach, a lot of the exercises we did early on is around bigger future, moving future, like really having a vision for what you want to be spending your time on. And in EOS, the Delegate and Elevate tool, you lay it out in a grid. Coach has unique ability, like all these different tools support our leaders, our own mindsets around what do we want to be spending our time on, so that we can actually step up and out in the business and not have this fear around, well, what's my contribution, right?
Yeah. One of the things I really appreciate about Dan Sullivan and coach's thinking is, Dan talks about having your 25-year vision, like your 25-year, what do you want to have happen? And then working every quarter towards making that so. And that constant reinforcement and asking you, what do you want? The whole concept of just wanting what you want. You don't need to justify it, right? and it's exercising that muscle for visionaries, which otherwise if they're not thinking about their own thinking, to your point, Jill, then they do ping between the latest flavor of the month, the latest book they read, the latest whatever, without taking the time to stop and to reflect and to talk to other, growth-oriented, creative, cooperative entrepreneurs who are just wanting to grow as well. And there's something that really solidifies when people are in a group together, be it Zoom or in person, and they get input from the type of community that they're naturally a part of. They just didn't know it yet. And then they get to really go, oh, that's part of my future. No, that's not. So it's this incredible collaborative community of people who are all ambitious, creative, cooperative. That's kind of amazing. And it really, both of you have found this, it's kind of cool to hang out with people like you, right? And it reinforces your ability to think about your thinking. And sometimes people go, I want to think about that differently. They'll gently coach you in a friendly way. or say, oh, I tried that and this is what happened, or that's amazing, go for it. So you get this real practice and validation and sounding boards in the room to really help hone your vision as a business owner, which I think is it's just a very interesting facet of coach, because you don't just do it once and then take it back to the team and then they go do it, because then you're like, okay, now what do I do?
Yeah.
Right. But you keep growing and you keep expanding what you thought is possible, so the future keeps getting bigger, never gets smaller. And that means there's always more work for the team to do, and then you're always growing as a company and you're creating more value in the world, you're providing more employment, and you're hiring Emily's company. It's all good.
Thanks for the plug.
Expansive. We're talking about similarities or complementary things, and both programs, and I'm just learning this. Isn't that fun when you talk about something, you learn something new? Like, oh, that's another thing. That's another thing where we complement each other. We're both ongoing. It's not a one-time seminar.
Yeah.
You can actually read the book Traction in, a couple of hours, and you can say, I know it, because the concepts are so simple. And I think you could probably read one of Dan's, 88-page books and go, oh, I know it. The concepts are so simple, but it's coming back to them every 90 days and understanding them at a deeper level. I don't think I'll ever have coach concepts mastered. They're always going to be revealed to me as I use them more and more. And we're finding the same exact things with the simple EOS concepts and tools.
Yeah, and so much of what we do in the room at Coach is breakout groups. And so there's peer learning on things people are thinking about totally differently than you, just from the same exercise. So I think that's a big value add. But Jill, I was going to ask you, do you have any transformational stories? Maybe, I know we're running short on time, a story to share around Coach or EOS that you've been part of?
Sure. I have one client who's running on EOS. And for the longest time, he and his partner couldn't get on the same page with exactly where they wanted to go. Mm-hmm. And I could probably tell this story probably five times, but I'm going to just choose to share it with just one. And he actually calls this, he refers to EOS and Coach. He's been running on EOS for a while. He refers to Coach, or his life, as before Coach and after Coach. It's just totally helped him and his partner get laser focused on where they want to go with the product and the company. And this is a guy who has been in Vistage. He's well educated, lots of peer groups. He's been to every conference, that there are lots of education, reads ferociously. But then to put his whole entire life before Coach, after Coach is just phenomenal. So I have many, many stories like that. And then just a little one of my own, because, I'm in Coach. I remember my very first quarter, I was headed back for my second time at Coach. And my program advisor, she sent me an email and she said, hey, I'd like you to think about the progress you've made in the last 90 days. And I thought to myself, oh, I haven't made any progress at all. I didn't do an impact filter. I didn't this. And I didn't do all this stuff. But she sent me this form and she said, fill this out and see what comes. So just again, with a simple Coach tool, I started writing all of these things down and realized that I had actually made my money back, my whole entire year's fee, because of two concepts I learned at Coach my very first time. So, not only was it, have good ROI my very first quarter, which those are not guaranteed results, but I see them all the time. I see them with my clients too. But I also, just through one little simple tool and a simple email from my program advisor, I was able to realize how much progress I had made. So that's one of my fun stories. I probably have another dozen more.
Those are good. Shannon, do you have any to share?
Just a quick one that comes to mind. So there's a client that had been a coach for a really, really long time. I'd gone and worked with his team. And finally, he's like, Shannon, I'm frustrated with my company. I'm frustrated with the process. So I referred him to EOS. And I got this glowing thank you email. This is what I've been looking for. Thank you so much. Because, it's the ongoing system. It's teaching the team on how to meet quarterly, how to have effective what's called L10 meetings, which means you rate the meeting a 10 out of 10. That's the goal. Who does that? Right. And there's a whole structure, and they're meeting their goals on their scorecards. So it really added this fundamental, quantitative as well as qualitative component to their business that was missing forever. So huge thanks to EOS for making my client much happier than he had been. It was a big win in my books.
That's the discipline, right? It's the discipline. Yay, discipline.
Yeah, we like to call it habits, but yeah.
Yeah.
It makes discipline a good thing as opposed to an oppressive thing where you think you failed. It makes it is that regular pulse, which I'm like, okay, sign me up. That's momentum. I love that. So it's very powerful. And it just, again, the two pieces just fit together beautifully.
You sure do.
So I'm going to share two quick stories, and then we're going to close with right fit, who is a right fit for both programs and where they go to find out more information. But I'll share two of my stories from each program. So with Coach, we did an exercise, I want to say like 4 years ago, and it was all about like your future self. And I'm writing this out about my partner, right? I'm thinking about, because at that point I was single, I'm thinking about who do I want to be with? What does that look and feel like? And I can't even tell you the name of the exercise, but I went back and I read this thing like 2 months ago. It was like I manifested my partner. Like it was like to the T. I had done this exercise in Coach, and like I'm like, oh my God, this is totally what happened. So, that was like a really cool exercise. And then to be able to we date them, and so to look back and see all this different stuff happening because of those tools. And then with EOS, we did an exercise recently called the cash flow drivers. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that really allowed us to look at the money of the business in a totally different way than we ever had before, because we broke down all the different ways we make money and lose money and who owns it. And then we applied some, Jill's shaking her head, we applied some metrics to it. And now we're hitting it because we just took the time to break it out in this really creative way. And it was an EOS tool. So those are my two shares. So Jill, who's a right fit client for EOS? What are you guys looking for?
So our ideal client, and this is where EOS really, really works, is an entrepreneurial company with between 10 and 250 employees. This company is abundance-minded, they're appreciative, they're growth-minded. They also are willing to be vulnerable, because we really do kind of open up the closets, right? Look for the skeletons, we shake out the rug. So that's the ideal client. They want to grow, they're growing. We actually do not work with companies who might need a turnaround, anything like that. We expect that you're already in the right market, in the right business. And if you're interested in running on EOS, you can go to the website, eosworldwide.com, and look for a little orange button at the top that says find an implementer. And if that's too hard, just email me, jyoung@eosworldwide.com, and I will hook you up with the right people.
Amazing. Look at that. And Shannon, wait, Jill, one more question. Do you think that they need a leadership team before they can work in EOS?
No, in fact, your leadership team probably already exists. Mm-hmm. Even, ideal size is 3 to 7. Closer to 3. Mm-hmm. So no, you absolutely don't need a leadership team before you start to run on EOS. We take care of that. We walk you through that. In fact, that's the first tool you use when you work with us, is we will help you build that accountability chart.
Awesome. Shannon, what are you guys looking for in a right fit client?
Oh, goodness. Well, as I've been talking about, ambitious, creative, and cooperative entrepreneurs are really our right fit clients. It helps if there's at least 5 team members. So sole proprietors would find it a little bit more challenging. You're going to be doing a lot of hiring the first year if you don't have a team yet. So 17 members. Our minimum qualification is $200,000 in personal income. And then we have another level at $500,000 and above. And sometimes that's way above. But in terms of ambitions, we want people to grow, but want to grow a lot. We talk about 10x growth, and we also talk about the fact that 10 times is easier than 2 times. So if you want to have a self-managing company, if you really want to expand your freedom of time and money and relationship and purpose, Coach is a phenomenal place. And the best thing to do is go to strategiccoach.com. Tons of useful downloads. I would suggest really joining a webinar or one of our virtual events. Talk to one of our membership advisors in order to qualify for the virtual event. But then you actually get a taste of Coach. You get to experience it and see whether or not it's a right fit for you. And then just to see whether or not we fit together.
I've been on many
And those virtual events are so good.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
so good. You learn stuff in those virtual events. I love it.
It's a coaching event, so you're going to think about your thinking in that event.
That's right.
And Emily, I just want to give you a shout out to you because you've been really kind of a mastermind of pulling key resources together, which is what you do. But Delegate Solutions has been phenomenal in terms of helping our clients really leverage themselves to delegate and elevate in EOS's terms, to provide the who's, in terms of our who, not how concept, which is leveraging unique ability. So I know most people listening will know how to reach you, but why don't you say who your right fit client is? I'd love to know that too.
Sure. Well, we have it all on our VTO, right? So we're looking for established entrepreneurs with small teams running on an operating system like EOS, abundance mindset, lifelong learners, really wanting to embrace delegation, like from a 360 view. And my ebook or my book that I'm starting to write on Wednesday is called A Culture of Delegation. So it's going to be all about how delegation can cascade through the whole organization, which that's as far as I've gotten. So I have a lot more work to do on it this week. But thank you, Shannon. That's sweet.
I love that. EOS and Strategic Coach both would just be really, really difficult operations to run if we didn't believe in that concept. You've got to delegate so you can elevate yourself. And really by delegating, you're elevating other people too. So I love that concept of your book.
Thank you.
It's a culture of delegation. Everybody's elevating. And Emily, for you to be the mastermind behind that, what a treat for us to work with you.
Thank you. That's so nice. Yeah, it's about everybody doing work they love, and we're all creating value in that way. But thank you both. That was really unexpected. So my summary of this in both programs is Strategic Coach is all about empowering you as the leader to step up into your unique ability and do the work you love. And EOS is really the operating system for your business that allows the whole company to embrace how that's going to play out. Is that a good summary?
I love it, Emily. That was great.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. And lots of tools. Both companies have lots of tools, which is really fun. Yeah, but again, similar mindset. And the opportunity, I think, for all of us is to actually create workplaces that are incredibly healthy, incredibly productive, create enormous amounts of value. And there are possibilities for people being even more themselves and creating a bigger impact than ever before in human history. But it takes this kind of a mindset to make it happen. And I think we're all intimately involved in that. It's very cool.
A lot of clarity comes through both systems. So. Well, thank you, ladies. This was wonderful. I know everybody has to run, but it was great to have you.
Good.
Thanks, Emily.
Thank you so much, Emily. Thanks, Jill.
Bye.
See you later. Bye, everyone. Enjoy your day.